student population is about 2,200 undergraduate students. We have a lot of different programs. We have our business management, our psychology, social sciences, but we also have a lot of the particular sciences, like the health sciences, the physician's assistant, all that kind of stuff. So we have a lot of things to offer at Springfield College. We also have our East Campus, which is about half a mile down the road from our campus, and it's 57 acres of untouched forest land. So that is a resource that students get to use as a Springfield College student. It is also open to the public as well. We have a lot of different camps over there during the summer. So there's a lot of different opportunities for you to get involved in the community through Springfield College, and we believe in educating students in spirit, mind, and body, and in leadership and service to others. So when we're looking at your applications, we're focusing on you as a whole person rather than just your academics or your test scores.
Hello, my name is Samantha. I am one of the admissions counselors from Eastern Connecticut State University. Also a very proud Eastern alum, so I graduated back in 2017 with a Bachelor of Science in Communication. Some of our most popular majors are business, communication, psychology, and education. Of the which, when you come to Eastern, it's totally okay to come in undecided. You have until the end of your sophomore year to declare your major. We are rolling admissions, so we'll accept applications as early as August and then up until the start of classes, which is in the end of August. We're located about 2 hours from here in Willimantic, Connecticut, and we are very residential. So should you choose to come to Eastern, you will be among the 90% of our first-year students residing right on campus. And during this panel, we'll kind of talk about our admissions requirements and what we look for. I will now pass it on.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Jomaira, also a proud UConn alum. So the first thing I always like to mention about UConn is that we are a multi-campus university. So we have our main campus in Storrs, about an hour and a half away from here, and then we have smaller regional campuses across the state in Stamford, Avery Point, Waterbury, and Hartford. So our campus in Storrs is by far the largest. We have about 19,000 undergraduate students with us in Storrs, and the regional campuses average between 1,000 and 1,500 students. So sometimes students want that small class feel, so they'll choose a regional campus to attend first before going to our main campus in Storrs. As far as academics go, we do offer over 110 majors, so there's a lot to choose from. Similar to Eastern, you can always come in as undecided. That's perfectly fine, as long as you declare your major by the end of your sophomore year. So we have what is called regular decision, and we'll go over the different applications that we have at our colleges. But we have one application deadline of January 15th, and then we release all of our admissions decisions at the same time, March of your senior year.
Good morning. Scott Farrell with Naugatuck Valley Community College. I'm Assistant Director of Admissions, and I work out of our Danbury campus. I also am U.S. Army retired, 22 years, so I keep both perspectives of military service and also community college. I have graduated from Naugatuck Valley. I have 2 degrees, one in general studies, one in business management. Continued on, went to Charter Oak State College, used my military credits to get my bachelor's degree there, and then went on to University of New Haven to get my MBA. So we have about 6,000 students at our 2 campuses. We have one in Waterbury, our main campus, and also Danbury, which has about 1,300 students. Right now we have approximately 18 Chicago Valley High School graduates who are taking classes at Naugatuck. We offer over 100 degrees and certificate programs, along with learn to earn job training courses in such things as CNA, welding, bookkeeping, horticulture, and manufacturing. In Danbury, we have 3 degrees that we offer, which is business management, general studies, and liberal arts. We have an open enrollment program, meaning that anyone who wants to attend can attend. However, in order to get financial aid, you do need to be a high school graduate. We're currently a very affordable school at $2,212 per semester, $4,424 a year. If you're interested in finding out more, actually tomorrow we have an open, not tomorrow, Friday, on Saturday from 9 to 1 we are having an open house. So we're glad to come to our Waterbury campus, come see what it's all about, take a tour, meet our professors and our students. If you are interested, you can make arrangements with Mr. McManus. I will come to the school, meet with you, and I can do an on-site acceptance. We do offer free tutoring, professor office hours, a newsletter for parents to be able to help support you while you're in school. We have about an 18-to-1 ratio for students in most classes. We do have classes 7 days a week. Our earliest class starts at 6:30 in the morning, and we have classes that go to 10 o'clock at night. So again, we're about not only the traditional students like yourselves, but other people in the community who are looking to continue their education and get degrees. We also have different clubs and organizations. However, we do not have any sports. That is one of the reasons we're able to keep our costs at a much affordable rate.
All right, so based on the student questions that we received, we've created a list that is up front with them. I'm going to have UConn start with the first question. So you can just read it out loud.
Sure. All right. So first question is, aside from good grades, what other things can students participate in order to have a well-rounded resume for college?
So the things that you want to be involved in, again, is any of the clubs and organizations that are here in the school. So I believe you have FBLA. Any FBLA members here? So did you attend the state conference at Naugatuck Valley? So we actually worked with a lot of the different CTSOs, both FBLA, HOSA, Health Occupation Students of America, and also FCCLA, Family Career Community Leaders of America. We host their state conferences. But again, these are organizations where you're going to learn particular skills about the job that you're thinking about doing in the future, but you also have leadership potential within the organization, being able to be the president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, so forth. Also, the thing I would suggest is be involved, especially in your summers, if you can be involved in any kind of summer program that has to do with, again, the career you're thinking about. So I know New Milford has some robotics programs in the summer, if that's a field you're thinking about. Those are good things to be involved with and will help you be able to show that this is really what you want to do and help you move along in your career. Any other add-ons?
Sure. I think it's important to remember that it's not just about the grades for GPA, it's not just about your test scores. We want to see that students are involved. I know at your high school you are required to do some community service. So if you can even go beyond that, have some meaningful involvement. That's what we like to see. Any type of leadership, if you're part of a club, maybe by junior or senior year, you are president, vice president, treasurer, something like that. Those are the types of things that we like to see when we're reviewing your application.
And then kind of like going, obviously involvement is great, but thinking about the grade part too. For those of you that are in probably like 8th grade, are there 8th grade up here? Yeah, okay. So I am here to tell you that all of your grades matter. So I know sometimes you think that it's just your junior year that counts. I think we can all say that that's not really true. So we start looking at your grades as early as your freshman year. So freshman, sophomore, junior, and we still see your senior year grades. So for those juniors thinking, next semester, next year, I'm just going to take classes that are easy, it doesn't matter, I'm going to get into school anyway. We want to see that you're still taking, high school level courses and doing well in those courses as well, because we see your grades all the way up until the end. So while your involvement is just as important, your grades are also important in that aspect that we look at your grades for all years, and we're always looking for a positive trend within those grades, so students who are constantly improving in different areas.
Next question.
Okay.
Sure.
Next question. Great. So does your school require students to take the SATs or ACTs? If so, what ranges are necessary for admission? So I said earlier that Springfield College is moving to be test optional starting next year. That is with the exception of education, physician's assistant, physical therapy, athletic training, and occupational therapy. So that's because we have standardized tests that you're going to have to take, so we kind of want to know where you fall before you get into one of those programs where you are required to take a standardized test while in that program.
So we are test optional. However, we do still encourage students to apply with their test scores. So when a student applies test optional, so what we look for when a student applies is about a 3.2 GPA and about a 10.20 to an 11.90 on the SAT. If you are a little bit below that range and you choose to apply test optional, we look for a 3.0 on 18 academic units. So you must be taking those 18 core classes to be considered for test optional candidates, which is another reason why we encourage you to still take academic courses your senior year, because you can fall shy of those credits. If you ever have questions as to if you should apply with your test scores or apply test optional, you can always give us a call, and we'll be more than happy to work with you throughout that process, so that way, if you are applying, it's as strong as possible for your application.
So at UConn, we are not test optional, so we do require students to either submit the SAT or the ACT. So we don't have a cutoff, we don't have a minimum, because when you apply, we're looking at everything that you're submitting to us. I can say for the Stores campus, the main campus, the more competitive campus, we saw a range between 1235 and 1390 for the students who started this past fall with us. If you were interested in one of our regional campuses like Waterbury, we saw about 1100 average SAT-wise, 29 ACT, if you take that for the Stores campus or average for us.
And for us, all students are required to take the AccuPlacer test. The AccuPlacer tells us where you are for math and English. However, if you have taken your SATs, which again, in Connecticut, everybody does, so we can use your scores. If you have a 5, 10, or higher in English, you'll be waived from the English placement test and placed into English 101. If you have a 530 or higher on your math, you'll be into intermediate algebra. If you have higher scores than that, we can put you in higher level maths.
So next question is, how does the financial aid process work? What are the deadlines? What scholarships and financial aid awards does your school offer? So at UConn, students are automatically considered for merit-based scholarships once they apply. There's no separate application. And because they are merit-based, we're looking at a few things. We're looking at your grades, your GPA, and we're also looking at your test scores. So either the SAT or the ACT. Financial aid is based on what you put on your FAFSA. And the FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. So you can start filling that out as early as October 1st of your senior year. And then our deadline at UConn is March 1st. So you have a lot of time to fill that out, but we always recommend that students and parents try to fill it out as soon as possible.
So with that, I know that a lot of organizations and so forth, I know at Naugatuck we offer workshops to help you fill out the FAFSA. So while you have that October 1 deadline, both you and a parent need to have a FAFSA ID. I like to think of that as your electronic signature. So you want to make sure you get that done. And then there's certain documentation. So currently this year is based on income that was made in 2017. So next year, juniors here, it'll be based on 2018 income. There's a nice tool in the FAFSA that helps you and your parents be able to get the information that you submitted to the IRS and put that in to your FAFSA. By doing that, it also can limit the amount of things that you can be picked on for selected for verification. So it's a great thing to do that. With that, you also can be qualified for what is called a Pell Grant. So a Pell Grant can be up to currently $6,095. In our case at Naugatuck, if you get $6,095, it more than covers your tuition. It will also give you money for books, so it can work for you. We also then do have state money that's available through scholarships called Roberta Willis scholarships, and then we also have the ability for you to take out student loans. So a lot of times I know people say, well, I'm not going to get any money anyway, so I'm not even going to fill it out. But one of the things that you do need to remember is if you do need to take out a student loan, I think I'd rather take it out from the federal government at a lower rate than taking it out other places that are going to cost a lot more. So it's always worth making sure that you at least fill out the FAFSA, even if you don't think you might get any money.
So the next question was, if a student does not have a straight A average, what can a student do in order to be considered for admission at your school? So at Springfield College, like Samantha had said, we look at an upwards trajectory throughout high school. So we look 9 through 12, your senior year grades as well, and what classes you are taking. So if you started off rocky your freshman year, we want to see that you improved throughout high school, or if there was like extenuating circumstances that came up, speak to that in your application in the additional comments section so that we know and it justifies as to maybe why your grades had slipped, say your sophomore year. and then they continue to go upwards from there. And if you're worried about your grades, or you're worried about your GPA, you're worried about your test scores, if they require test scores, we say do an admissions interview, because then you sit down with an admissions counselor, we get to know you one-on-one, and we can kind of understand who you are overall as a person, and maybe your academics don't reflect your actual knowledge base and how intelligent you really are. Because some people just aren't that great in the classroom, aren't great at taking tests, and that may reflect in their grades, and that may not be who you are as a student.
Okay, so our next question is, does your school offer housing to incoming freshmen, and if so, what housing options are available to students? So to start, I would say, well, Eastern, yes, we are very residential, but regardless of what school you're touring, I recommend you need to tour. Whatever school that you're applying to, you should definitely go on a tour, because that's the only way that you're going to see if that school is the right fit for you. So if you come on a tour of Eastern, we actually show you the different style options for our first year students that they get to live in. So when you apply to Eastern, if you're admitted, you pick the building that you'd like to live in your first year, which is pretty neat, because if you come to campus and you fall in love with one building, you can actually select to live in that hall your first year. So we offer suite style and traditional style for our first year students. Your traditional style is just going to be you and your roommate in a room, and then on the floor is that bathroom, shower, shared living space. Whereas the suite style, you get to live with 3 other people. It's 2 people in one room, 2 in the other, and you have a bathroom, shower, and a shared living space all within the room. And again, the choice is yours as to what building you'd like to live in. So if you're someone who would like to live in that traditional college feel, residence hall, that option's for you. But if you prefer to be more in a suite style setting, with some more people, you can also select that option as well. And then you can live on campus all 4 years if that's something that you'd be interested in. We also have apartment style housing options for students when you become a sophomore, junior, and senior. This is when you have your own individual bedroom, bathroom, shower, common area, and kitchen as well. And as of this fall, we have loft style apartments going up in one of our fine arts, our old fine arts instructional centers. So that's something that most of our students are pretty excited about.
So at UConn, we are highly residential. About 97% of our freshmen do live on campus in stores. So we have the typical dorm, 2 people in the room with that communal bathroom. We also have suites, and we have apartments, which are pretty much for upperclassmen, juniors, and seniors. If you're interested in one of our regional campuses, the only regional campus that has housing is the Stanford campus. But if you are interested in maybe Waterbury, they do have an articulation agreement with the Brown Building in Waterbury. So a lot of UConn students actually live there as well. But I just want to echo what Samantha said about touring campuses. You want to make sure that it's a really good fit for you. You want to make sure that when you get on that campus, you can pitch yourself there for your college career.
Yeah, okay. So at Springfield College, we have 3 different housing opportunities for first-year students that come in. There's 2 of them that are more of like a community feel. They have some sophomores mixed into those buildings, so those are on like the more quiet side of campus, you could say, a little bit farther away from the academic buildings. Then we have another one that's like down farther a little bit in campus. They're maybe about a 7-minute walk from one to the other. But I mean, we have about 300 students in that first-year residence hall that's a little bit farther down, and all of our residence halls have 2 roommates, so it's just double occupancy. And then we have the communal bathrooms, communal showers, all of that. You'd be surprised, when you start using a communal shower and a communal bathroom, how you learn to share very well when you get to college. That is very important, so just keep that in mind.
And in Naugatuck Valley, we have a program that makes you feel like you're at home. Actually, you are at home. Community colleges do not have dorms, so you would actually live at home and come down to classes with us. When we talk about visiting the school, definitely very important. Every year we do a tour for students from Chapin Valley. So please, for those juniors next year, sign up and come on the tour. We'd love to show you what we have to offer. So close to home.
Next question is, what is the average class size and what is the ratio of students to faculty? So at UConn, because we have 19,000 students, our average class size is actually between 26 and 31 students. However, I always like to mention that your first couple of years, you may have those larger lecture style classes, maybe 150, 200 students in a class. Once you get into your major, the sizes of those classes will decrease significantly. But for those general education courses, like intro to psychology, anthropology, sociology, things like that, those classes might be bigger. and faculty to student to faculty ratio 16:1 at UConn.
So our average class size at Eastern is about 23 students, and we cap all of our classes at 40. So regardless if you're taking a class your freshman year or you're taking a class that you just need for your major your senior year, that class will never be larger than 40 students. And we do that so you're able to get that personalized attention from professors, to be able to network with them, do research with the professors, and kind of utilize them as a resource during your time throughout your 4 years. And our ratio is about 15:1, and all of our professors are required to have 5 office hours a week. So regardless of what class you're taking or what professor it is, they will have to have 5 hours assigned throughout the semester that you can meet with them, that they'll be available for one-on-one help that you may need.
At Springfield College, our average class size is about 15 to 20 students. So 20 would be more of the general education requirements that everyone needs to take, because they have to fit a lot of people in there. And then the 15 would be more of like your major specific classes. Our biggest lecture hall on campus is 60 people. However, those are usually the science classes that we have, and built off of that, we have the lab once a week. And so even though you're in a class with 60 people, you have the lab once a week that has only 15 students in it, so you still get that one-on-one attention with the same professor. So if you're struggling in that class, they are there to help you. As Samantha said, all of our professors are required to have office hours available during the week as well. It's usually during, it's random times during the day. Sometimes it's in between when the teachers have the classes. There's like an hour here, maybe a couple hours in the evening, one day a week. And most advisors are going to be willing to meet with you when you need them. So if you ask them, hey, do you mind meeting after class, or once you're done with your schedule for today, they're usually more accommodating for that. And our student faculty ratio is 15:1.
With that, so I said earlier, our ratio is 18:1. We do not have any large lectures. The largest class we usually have is our psychology, which is capped at 36. Average class size 24, most classes that you come into. Any of the science classes, max is 24 for both the class and the lab. We do have office hours. Again, the professors are usually available to you before or after class, but they will also set up times based on your schedule, their schedule, to meet with you. So again, they're there to help you. We also have advisors at the school. We have an interesting situation at the Danbury campus. So while I'm the assistant director of admissions, I also am the veteran student advisor, and I also do advising for all new students once they've taken the placement test. So if you're interested in coming, you'll definitely see a lot of them. Thank you.
The next question, what types of admission does your school have? Rolling, early decision, early action. So briefly, I'm just going to go over what each of those means. So rolling admissions is going to be, as soon as you apply, we get you an answer, pretty much as quickly as we can from that point. Early decision is going to be the binding contract. So that's when, if you get admitted to that school in the specific major that you applied for, and you have a financial aid package that is doable for you and your family, and it's not totally out of range, then you'll be binded to come to our school. And then early action is, when you apply a little bit earlier, there's some more scholarship opportunities for you, and it's just a specific deadline that you have to meet. I think at UConn is, you don't have it. Oh, never mind, UConn doesn't have it. But, so at Springfield College, we are rolling admissions except for our physician's assistant program. Our physician's assistant program is required to be an early decision. So that is the binding contract. That is because we only accept 35 students to that program, and only 35 students end up attending. That's about out of maybe 200 applicants for the program, so it is very competitive. However, we do have other options for you if you want to go into the PA track eventually. So, don't count it out. So definitely make sure that you apply for those programs. But you aren't allowed to apply to 2 early decisions at the same time. So you have to choose one or the other that if you got in that program, that's just something to keep in the back of your mind.
At Eastern, we are rolling admissions, so we start reviewing applications typically around October once we're all back in the office, but we'll start receiving applications end of August, early to mid-August, and then we'll review applications, and like we were saying, that once you apply and we have all of your documents, you should hear back from us within about 2 weeks once you have all of your required materials. And we'll review applications right up until the start of classes or until our class is full for the year.
So at UConn, we have what is called regular decisions. So we have our application deadline of January 15th. We also have a priority consideration deadline of December 1st. That's priority for our honors program and our merit-based scholarships, but you don't hear any earlier. So all of our students will hear on March 1st about their admissions decision.
And at Naugatuck Valley, we are rolling admissions. So as soon as you submit the application, we'll review it, and then we will send you your confirmation, your student number, and please come join us.
So the next question is, does your school offer study abroad opportunities for students? Can financial aid money be used to pay for studying abroad? So at UConn, we do have a study abroad program. We actually go to over 65 different countries, and students are able to study abroad as early as the summer before their sophomore year at UConn. So we have students going to countries based around their major. So for instance, we have Spanish majors who will go to Granada, Spain for a semester, live with the host family. All those classes are taught in Spanish. We have business majors who go to Italy. All those classes are taught in English by actual UConn professors. And we have engineering students who go and study abroad for a full academic year in Germany, working at an engineering firm. And then they come back and finish their degree at UConn. So a lot of opportunities. Any major can study abroad, and I always recommend that students try to study abroad while they're undergrads, because you really won't have another opportunity to do that for a full semester or a full year. So we do have an education abroad office that you can work with. You'll have an advisor there, and they'll make sure you're taking the correct classes in that different country in order to still graduate on time. Oh, and financial aid. Typically, you can use financial aid when you're going to study abroad. A lot of times it's just the additional cost of the plane ride to the other country. Yeah, and again, your advisor in the education abroad office can help you with those questions.
We don't study abroad.
So the next question is, I think this one's really important. Do you have any pointers for writing a college essay for the application? So, we like to know who you are as an individual. We want you to be creative. I can't tell you, I read maybe close to 600 applications. I read 600 essays and multiple letters of recommendation. And a lot of those essays were about winning the big game on your sports team, or I got an injury, so that's why I want to go into whatever medical field it is. So we get a lot more of those than you think, so be creative. The coolest essay that I read was a day that a student rescued 2 baby turtles out of a pond. And it was literally one day, it was maybe a half an hour deal, but it was really interesting to read, and that one stuck out to me, and I wanted everyone else to read it. So it can be little things like that. Just get creative, make it unique, because that's one of the points in the application where you get to showcase who you are as a person, that this is your personality, this is what you feel about certain things. So make sure that you make it as personalized as you possibly can.
I agree with everything that she just said. So the college essay is definitely my favorite part of the application process itself. Definitely start thinking now what you want to write your college essay about. For the juniors in the room, you can see what the writing prompts are. Start brainstorming different ideas and things that you really think that you could write about. And something that we always say at our office, so at Eastern we receive about 6,000 applications, so that's about 6,000 essays that we get to read. With that being said, make sure that you are proofreading your essay. There is nothing worse than getting to the essay part where you're really hoping that the student's essay is just going to be the reason why we can admit the student, and there is a typo, not a great sentence, the structure is off. So make sure that you're proofreading, having someone else read the essay. Don't just write it one night and then submit it. But at the same time, don't have about 8 to 10 different people read your essay, because at that point it's going to lose your voice and it's not your writing. So we can tell, we want to make sure that it's coming from the student. And again, make it interesting, make it different, and try to be as unique as possible.
I'll be glad to read any essay you submit, but it is not required.
So just an announcement, can everyone hear me okay? So juniors, the school counselors, we are going to be pushing into your classrooms the 3rd week of May to go over the college essay. We have all the prompts from Common App, so we're going to be discussing that with you in detail. But exactly what they said, it's an extremely important piece of the application. We really take pride in getting you guys ready to complete that. So we have about a couple minutes left. I wanted to open the floor up to a couple questions. These were questions that you guys submitted to us, and that's why they asked the question. So if there's any specific questions, anyone have a question? Can I have a hand raised? Anyone? Please stand up. Yeah, if you don't mind.
So for our limited enrollment program, it's very competitive. For Springfield College overall, we're looking for a 3.0 and above GPA, but since we're test optional, we don't look at test scores, you're welcome to submit them if you want. But we do consider 2.5 GPAs and above. So we just look at the whole applicant, like you said.
All right.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Everyone, so the bell just rang. Stay seated. I want to give everyone a round of applause. That was fantastic.